Hi everyone, editing Rachel from the future here. Quick note about the beginning of this week's episode. Apparently, after being off for 2 weeks for the holidays, made me forget how to do the podcast properly. So our intro, the usual, tangents as we continue, blah 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 blah, insert witty line from Rachel here, did not get recorded. So the recording is going to pick up right in the middle of us chit-chatting after, saying who's here, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, so you're going to hear our usual, celebrity intro and the music, but then it's going to pick up right in the middle of our conversation about the holidays and this kind of the nerdy stuff we got for Christmas. And then we get into the usual stuff, news and feedback and all that fun stuff. But yeah, hopefully next week I'll do a little better. Just gotta shake off the rust a little, apparently. And, it's like riding a bicycle. You never really forget, but sometimes you're a little wobbly when you first get on again after it's been a while. Enjoy!
This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast.
On YouTube, he's kind of a mix of Mr. Rogers and Pee Wee Herman, if you can imagine that. But it's
interesting combo.
Very interesting combo. But he goes out into the community. He teaches people about talks to other people about what they do, and talks to the kids. And it's not like this nice, calm, sedate Mr. Rogers, but it's kind of the same thing. But he also is very childlike and things, and it's kind of the whole. I mean, he could be annoying. I get it. I know. But the whole idea behind where he came from is this guy who was a stand-up comedian who did some very, very, very X-rated stuff. And then he realized, and then he kind of had this moment where he's like, oh, I actually want to be a good example to my nieces and nephews, and this isn't doing it for him. So he created the character so he could, make something that they could watch. So, and I'm like, you know what? That's admirable. You want to, and you want to be educational and fun and engaging, and for little kids. And now he has a friend named Mika, and she's kind of she has her own little series, and she's cute, and it's fun. It's fun. It's not for everybody, and I could totally see why people would think it's annoying after a while. But I don't know. It's kind of, knowing the backstory of it kind of endears it. It's kind of endearing. So between that and Bluey, Lottie is just she's in hog heaven. But anyway, that was a very long explanation of wrapping paper. And Christmas with kids.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Been a while since we've been on the podcast.
It's Christmas and the holidays. It's a big deal. So
yes.
Mm-hmm. So, although strangely enough, not a whole lot in the way of news. It was kind of quiet over the holidays, which is kind of a good thing, I think. In some form, although we do have a bit of 10 o'clock news, unfortunately, with the lost member of the Doctor Who community, and Richard Franklin, played Captain Mikey Yates of Unit for the longest time.
Yes.
But yeah, those first and second series folks, that was a long time ago, and so a lot of them are up there in age. So, but yeah, it was semi-regular, because we got a lot of Unit, starting with the second Doctor and definitely with the third Doctor. So, and then
Mike Yates has also gone into, as a character into Big Finish and stuff like that too. So there is plenty of Captain Yates for you to consume if you want to
Yes.
see more of the character or listen to more of the character, hear more about the character, learn more about the character.
Yes, and I believe he came back and did some Big Finish as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. So that is that. And then last night, award season kicked off. Crazy to think. So.
And boy, howdy,
Thankfully, it was on
interesting.
CBS, which meant it was streaming live on Paramount Plus. So thank you for that. Because usually, most of the award ceremonies, I have to go digging for not the dark web, but corners of the internet to watch this stuff.
Alternative.
Yeah, because I don't have TV. Yes, so I have to watch these things usually with the help of other people. But yeah, the Gold Globes were last night, and it was kind of all over the place. But like we said when the nominees were announced, it's not necessarily the best indicator of where the Oscars might go.
Right.
So that being said, Oppenheimer did walk away with 4 statues, including Best Drama Picture, Best Director, Best Lead in Actor in a Drama, and then Best Supporting, which Robert Downey Jr. He cracks me up.
Yes.
He's talking about after the movie was released, and somebody came up and told him that his performance was unusually restrained, which he immediately took as a insult, not a compliment. Like, oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is restrained is not the first thing you think of when you're describing Robert Downey Jr.
No,
Not
really. No.
That being
I could
said,
see where he would take it as a bit of a diss.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty self-deprecating himself, though. So
yeah.
That being said, if you want to maybe look into the stuff that is getting attention when it comes to awards, you might want to look at the holdovers. I've had one person recommend it to me, but that's it. So apparently Sean really liked it on his review for Flicks with Friends. So yeah, Barbie only walked away with Best Original Song with to Billie Eilish's What Was I Made For? And their new category, which is essentially, they call it Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. It's a popularity award, is what it is. Barbie won that. So, like I said,
it already won the popularity contest by virtue of the fact it made so much money.
That is true.
Yes.
That is very true.
Why do you need an award for that?
And this is one award ceremony, and there's a lot between now and March when we have the Oscars. But I do kind of wonder if Barbie is fizzled out because it's been so long since its original release. Although Oppenheimer was released at the same time, so
yeah, well, that one was more award friendly too.
Yeah. Well, and Oppenheimer is still in theaters in some places too, so like I could still go see it in IMAX if I wanted to here locally, which I probably should. So that also might make a difference as well. If it stays in the theaters, it stays in people's minds. So who knows? Like I said, the Golden Globes not necessarily the best indicator of where things will go when it comes to the Oscars. So I will say it was really cool. Not that I've seen it, and I'm not likely to because, first of all, I don't care for anything Scorsese does.
But I also know that the story is not the most historically accurate. But
Making a historically
Lily,
biopic?
yeah.
Not fake.
Well, I mean, Lily, can't remember her last name.
Gladstone?
For Flowers of the
Pillars of the Flower.
Pillars of the Flower Moon. See, I don't even care enough to keep the name right. But yeah, she won, which she was the first Indigenous woman to be nominated, and therefore by winning, that makes her the first Indigenous woman to win. So that's pretty cool. So I will take that.
Mm-hmm.
That is very cool. So that is that. Then we do have a new episode of Gold Standard in the feeds. In the main feeds. Now, we are almost caught up. We're at the penultimate, with 2020's Nomadland. And then coming up on our next episode is the penultimate Oscar winner with Coda. And then after that, we have Everything Ever All at Once, and then we're going to be caught up. And then y'all get to find out what we're going to be doing after that. So, but that is exciting.
We are feeling like
Yeah, it is weird because when we started, it seemed like it was, doing it every other week. It's like, oh, that's going to take ages. And here we are. It's like, we have 2 movies left before we're caught up. And then we have to wait till March to find out what the next winner is. So, but there's that. Of course, we are in a new month, so it means book club.
Yes. So the book, it's actually, there's going to be 2 audios, audio for this month and audio for next month. So this month is The Magic Mousetrap, and next month is The Nightmare Fair. And they both deal with past nemesis of the Doctor, which we've seen portrayed by the fantastic Neil Patrick Harris, the toy maker. So enjoy, and then in February I will have the poll up for March's book. Yes.
So then, for February, I could just post a link to my birthday Big Finish audio link. That episode when we do that episode.
Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, yes, so
just
saying,
yes. If you want to join in the book club, but you also want to send in feedback in February, you can do that. Maybe to my hand alone.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Uh-huh.
And then we got some feedback from Shalane. She says, "Happy New Year's. Hope you girls have a good holiday and making some New Year's resolutions." I do not make resolutions because I'm terrible at them. So I just kind of last year I took the word, and it worked. I think.
Your New Year's resolution is not to make resolutions, and hey, you stuck to it.
Exactly. My resolution is to do my best. So, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to do my best. How's that? So, and then she gave us a list of a bunch of movies that have anniversaries this year, which we appreciate because I am working. We do have a document where we keep track of anniversaries for each year, so that comes in handy. So if you were alive during any of these time periods, then you probably remember some of these movies being released. She says, also saw they moved the Gold Globes from NBC to CBS. Yes, they did. So again, thank you, Paramount Plus, for streaming that. I'm expecting Barbie to win Best Comedy and Best OG Songs for I'm Just Ken. Sorry, Shalane. Obviously, she sent these before yesterday's award ceremony. Sorry, you were wrong on both of those. Although I will say I was quite pleased as they were listing off the nominees for Best Original Song that, when they got to Peaches, Jack Black was there just in case. So I was surprised that I'm Just Ken is nominated for Best Original Song. It is kind of catchy, and it has a great dance number in it too. So I was bummed out that The Color Purple didn't get nominated for Best Musical, and Wonka was only nominated for Best Actor, because I heard Wonka is this year's greatest showman. But, from what I've heard from everybody who's seen Wonka, they say it's cute. Yeah, it's not amazing, but it's entertaining and it's a fun watch. So probably a pop like this.
Yeah, that's basically what I've heard from people I've heard talk about it, and they're like, it's fun.
Yeah.
There was some trepidation from some going into it, but I'm like, you know what, I will take fun.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I want to watch it just because, like, the few, like, from the trailers and clips, Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa just really freaks me out.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to look at. Like, Oompa Loompas and as they appear in the version that we all remember growing up with kids, that's fine. But something about Hugh Grant as Oompa Loompa really freaks me out.
Mhm.
It's just wrong. And for animated, either Pixar Elementals or Disney Wish, but maybe Boy and the Heron, which Boy and the Heron did win. Just I was thinking Super Mario Brothers could win because the Golden Globes aired on it. Used to air on NBC, and NBC is owned by Universal, but they did Super Mario Brothers, but the Golden Globes now airing on CBS. And in theory, that should not make a difference. Who owns who and what network an award ceremony airs on should not make a difference. So, going back to Wonka, you girls should talk about an episode about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Johnny Depp, and the one with the late Gene Wilder. Yeah, we should. And the books. So, I've read the first book. I've not read Charlie and the Glass Elevator yet, though. But I'll get around to it. Our girls should do an episode on movies based on Roald Dahl, the author behind Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and the BFG, James and the Giant Peach. Yeah. Also, be patient for next year's musical. You girls have plenty to talk about. This 2023 was a year for musical for you girls. I think my favorite musicals you girls talked about this year was Little Shop of Horrors, Sister Act, Mamma Mia, Les Mis, Frozen, and Beetlejuice. And then she sends in another list of anniversary films that she forgot, which I'm going slowly backwards in the incremental years. But yeah, I do have a couple of those already written down. So you're on the right track, Shalane. Thank you very much. All right, so our first Christmas special since Twice Upon a Time. Finally going back and getting a Doctor Who special on Christmas Day. It's been a hot minute, and this is actually the first Christmas special that is the new Doctor's first full episode since the Christmas Invasion. So, it was a long time ago. That was David Tennant's first proper full episode. So it's been, the Christmas and Doctor Who used to be very hand in hand, but they got a little creative over the years. But yes, this gives us Ncuti Gatwa, our 15th Doctor, his first full proper episode. Granted, he did get a decent amount of screen time in The Giggle once the bi-generation happened, but this gives him his opportunity to really show his Doctor and what we could expect from this Doctor. The first thing I think we can expect from this Doctor is he's not going to have a single outfit. This Doctor is kind of a clothes whore, for lack of a better term. That we know the TARDIS has an extensive wardrobe, and it seems like this Doctor is going to take advantage of it. That he's going to wear lots of different outfits. I mean, he wears. He starts off wearing a kilt, in this episode, and then switches to the outfit with the kind of blue pants and the longish coat. Doctor always loves a swishy coat, no matter the incarnation, so I won't fault him that. But in the little clips we get for what's coming when we get the proper series in the spring, as they're telling us, and as we've seen in some of the promotional pictures, this Doctor is taking advantage of the TARDIS wardrobe, and I'm kind of here for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also get introduced to our new companion, Ruby Sunday. Although every time I see or hear her name, I want to break out into the Rolling Stone song Ruby Tuesday, which is not the same thing.
No, it is. It's like, yeah, I see what you did there.
Yep. But we once again are getting a companion who has a mysterious backstory that in theory we will slowly discover during their time as the companion. So in this case, Ruby was abandoned as a baby, dropped on the front stoop of a church on Ruby Road. That's the title of the episode, The Church on Ruby Road. And that's where she got her name, was Ruby. And then she was taken in as a foster child by this woman, Carla, and who lives with her mother, Cherry, and their last name is Sunday. And Ruby essentially becomes what we call in the animal world a foster fail, where they decide to keep said foster.
Yes. And I don't know how many times the Rolling Stones song Ruby Tuesday kept running through my mind. I'm like, no, it's Sunday.
Besides, we do not want to say goodbye to Ruby. We want to say hello.
Exactly.
To Ruby.
She just came.
Yeah.
She just showed up on scene.
Yeah. So yeah, Ruby is a foster fail, and Carla and Cherry end up deciding to adopt her as their own, so she gets the last name Sunday. And they live, in a flat somewhere. We meet some of their neighbors, and it turns out that throughout the years, Carla has fostered a lot of children, but Ruby's the only one that she's ever kept. But it's Christmas Eve, and a new baby has been brought in that only needs to be watched over for a few days while the birth mother tries to sort herself out and decide what she wants to do. Because having a newborn can be very overwhelming, from what I understand, especially if this is your first time doing it. People don't realize just how much work is involved with the baby. People are like, oh, they just sleep all the time. How much work can it be? They're a lot of work. They are a lot of work. And they only become more work the bigger they get. I do know that much.
Yes. Although once they can feed themselves and dress themselves and use the bathroom themselves, it gets a little easier. But
but you gotta keep them alive till then.
Yes.
And then you still have to teach them how to do that stuff.
Yes. That is true. But then they want to snuggle you and then play with you, so it's fun.
Yeah. And like after spending time with my nephew and niece over the holidays, oh my goodness, there's so much work, and they're not even mine. So, uh, just confirms I made the right choice by not having any, because it's not for everybody. But in the Sunday's case, it is very much theirs, their thing. They love fostering kids for no matter how long they might stay. Carla's got photos of every single child she's ever fostered up on the refrigerator. It's a very loving home. Although Cherry gets very mad if you do not bring her tea.
No.
When she asks it.
Get the woman a cup of tea, please.
Yes.
And thank you.
Yes. She just wants a cuppa. Come on.
I mean, for the
help an
Carla,
old woman out.
Ruby, Christmas gift, automated tea thing right by your bedside. Really. All you got to do is just make sure that she's got fresh water and change the cups and clean over and self-serve. Yep.
Exactly. So, but Ruby has been wanting to figure out more about her birth parents, so she goes and approaches this television show that apparently has access to resources and all sorts of stuff to be able to do like DNA testing and do genealogy and look into records that most people may not have access to, that sort of thing. It turns out that they're not able to find anything anywhere about her birth mother or birth father. So, it's kind of like, how can people have a child and not leave any sort of trace anywhere? So, it gets us questioning things. And in the process, Ruby and all the people around here start experiencing bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts innocuous enough. Somebody knocks over a cup of coffee or something like that. Something that, Donna Noble will be like, oh, that happens to me all the time. But it starts to, the bad luck starts to become a bit more grand, or like almost Final Destination-ish. So that gets the doctor's attention, and he happens to arrive the same time that this new foster baby named Lulu Bell, which Ruby and both Ruby and Carla think is an awful name. The doctor loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Get dropped off, and he learns, about how they fostered 32 other children and all that stuff. And then Lulu Bell gets kidnapped by goblins, which Ruby gives chase, climbing out on the roof where she meets the doctor. They end up on the goblins' flying ship, which is up in the sky, hidden in the clouds, and the goblins feed on coincidence and accidents while traveling through time to find babies to eat, which all I can think of is the poem that we covered when we talked about Annie, about the goblins are going to get you if you don't watch out, So all the accidents have been them feeding on the energy of that till they could get the baby, because they like babies, as Eddie Izzard once said. Taste of chicken.
And the thing is,
humans taste like chicken, so babies must taste of chicken.
and they only need one baby to feed the whole group. I'm finding that a little
Apparently,
suspect. Unless it has something to do with the Goblin King and he just kind of transfers said power. Who knows?
maybe it's like a mother bird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we meet the goblins and the Goblin King. Nothing like Jared from Labyrinth.
No.
I will tell you that.
No
BT
time running
Dubs
clock.
today happens to be David Bowie's birthday. R.I.P. David Bowie.
Mhm.
Not that Goblin King.
Nope.
We
were all wishing for that Goblin King. Don't get us wrong, is some sort of variation. That nope, we got the Jabba the Hutt version.
Yeah, other end of the looks spectrum. Very Jabba the Hutt. Very Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Goblin type.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But we get a nice song and dance number. Oh,
yes, we do. Yes.
Which was
Janet's
fun.
Goblin for the win.
Yes.
I mean, some of those names that they had, I was just like, okay, you guys had way too much fun, but I'm buying it.
Yeah.
and the cool thing is that the BBC didn't put out the full song. So we didn't know that we were also getting Ncuti and Ruby singing, and man, can both of them carry a tune.
Yeah. Ncuti is not bad, neither is Millie. Although apparently Ncuti was rather nervous.
You got a good set of pipes on you, boy.
Yeah, you're not bad. So, the Doctor has defeated enemies in a large variety of ways and means. Song and dance, why not? It's been 60 years. And we're probably due for the Doctor to defeat, take on a bad guy with song and dance. So,
little dance off.
Why not?
Star-Lord.
Yeah. So, so they save Lulubelle, of course. But in the process of their escape, the goblins decide to get revenge, so they travel back in time, causing a literal crack to appear in Carla's flat. And now they have changed the present so that the home is not warm and welcoming. Carla is not the happy foster mom. She's only fostered a handful of kids and only does it for the money. Cherry is a big pain in the ass, and not in the cute, like Sophia old lady kind of way.
Right.
And so the Doctor realizes that the goblins have gone back in time to take Ruby when she was a baby. So of course the Doctor has to travel back in time himself, and manages to crash the Goblin ship, killing the Goblin King. Very Ursula in the in the Little Mermaid. Yes. One Shishka Goblin King to go. And then the Doctor takes baby Ruby, puts her on the church's doorstep so that the history and therefore the future can go back to the way it was. And then the Doctor comes back to the present. Everything's all hunky dory, including saving Davina from getting crushed by that Christmas tree. So, the Doctor's like, this has been fun. Bye. Starts to leave. Ruby figures out, no, this guy is more than what he seems. Finds the TARDIS. Has her. She doesn't say it, but of course has her bigger on the inside moment. Yes. Even if she doesn't say the line, the eyes say it for them. Because the Doctor had mentioned things about how the goblins, once he writes everything, he mentions that the goblins had gone back in time to kidnap Ruby, and he had talked about the goblins themselves are time travelers. He mentions that he himself was adopted, which is a nice little nod to the Flux and all that. So
Yeah.
keeping that canon. So the Doctor and Ruby are now Doctor and Companion going off to have their adventures, but we get a nice little, like, wait, what? You know, a la MCU mid-credit scene where Mrs. Flood, who is one of the Sunday's neighbor, along with some of their other neighbors like Abdul and was it Denzel or Trudy? But we made a bunch of neighbors because they live in a row of flats. The TARDIS takes off, and I think it's Abdul is all like, you know, because Mrs. Flood, she just kind of hangs out on her stoop, and you know, it's kind of the neighborhood nosy person. You know, kind of like the neighbor in Bewitched who lived across the street.
Gladys Kravitz. Yeah, Gladys Kravitz. But she's got a little more sass to her and played wonderfully by Anita Dobson, a.k.a. Mrs. Brian May.
Yes. But Abdul's like, oh, did you see that? And of course, Mrs. Flood is like, yeah, what are you talking about, Abdul? Go inside. You need, you go watch some telly or something. And then we get a fourth wall break, and Mrs. Flood was like, what? You've never seen a TARDIS before?
Whoa, say what?
Yes. Leaving us all going, wait a minute, who the hell is Mrs. Flood?
Rewind. Yeah, I've seen theories anywhere from the Ronnie, older version of Rose, older version of Donna. Ruby. Yeah.
Because we see someone delivering baby Ruby to the church. Right. It's seemed, I don't want to say obvious, but based on the clothing and the body shape and everything, it appears to be a woman wearing a cloak and like a dress or a skirt. She's got on tights and high heels, you know, like booties. But we don't see her face because it's obscured by the hood.
And some of them almost had thought it almost looks like the 13th Doctor's very first outfit, but I don't know if that would be actually 13 putting baby Ruby at the doorstep. I mean, who knows?
So the fandom is in full
speculative
cap mode, speculation mode of, you know, what exactly is Ruby's story? You know, is she human? Maybe she's not human. The fact that her parents seemingly have no record of anything existing anywhere on the entire planet of Earth kind of makes you wonder. You know, maybe they're not of Earth. I guess she could still be human and not be of Earth, because you know, humans have the ability to travel to other planets, especially thanks to like the Doctor unit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she could be human, just not of Earth, or she could not be human.
Right.
We don't know. So far she hasn't shown anything that makes us think that she's not human.
No.
No abilities or strange bodily anything. You know, no extra limbs or anything, or you know, different colors.
Right. And the TARDIS is not throwing a conniption fit like it did with Clara.
Yes.
It's not trying to force her out of the TARDIS, so we know that...
Yeah, the TARDIS doesn't mind her being there. It doesn't see her as a threat, so that's good.
Yep.
But we've not seen enough of her interaction with the TARDIS to see if maybe the TARDIS acts like maybe the TARDIS knows her.
That is already. True. Because now, who did the TARDIS doors open for? Was it for Ruby or was it for Mrs. Flood?
That's for Ruby.
Okay, it was for Ruby. Okay, that's what I thought. I was trying to remember. It's been a little bit since I've rewatched it for the 4th or 5th time.
Yeah. She ran up to it and she was able to go right in.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And
So yeah, the TARDIS doesn't seem to object to her, so that's a good thing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
and also of note, the Doctor did not get slapped by a companion's relative yet. Yes, being the operative word. This is RTD we're talking about. I think he's actually growing and not having said relative slap. But then again, Ruby has not yet gone on an adventure and hasn't really had her life majorly put in danger by, I mean, not that she wasn't in this one, but you know what I'm getting at.
She hasn't done anything to make her mother angry at the Doctor yet, or Cherry. Who knows?
Or Cherry.
Maybe it'll be Cherry. Will be the one to slap this Doctor. Maybe it'll be a grandmother instead. Instead of Brandon's mother.
Yes. I mean, here's hoping that doesn't happen, but I'm prefacing that with a yet.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but it's like, is the person we saw delivering baby Ruby, is that, a younger version of Mrs. Flood, and Mrs. Flood is just kind of hanging around making sure that Ruby grows up?
That could
and
be
stays
too.
out of trouble until the Doctor shows up?
Possibly. I mean, at this point,
I mean, there are, and we do know.
Game.
Yeah, and the thing is, we do know that there are individuals out there in the universe that know what a TARDIS is that aren't a Time Lord. We saw that with the short with Paul McGann for the 50th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the sisters of Karn, right?
Well, no, before that, when he shows up to try to
that's right.
Cass, or something like that. Yeah, she's like, "Is that a TARDIS?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're a Time Lord." He's like, "No,
where we all lost our collective minds when we heard that voice.
Yes.
Not the Doctor you were expecting. Worth it.
Yes, but she recognizes TARDIS right away. So there are individuals out there that know what the TARDIS are that don't necessarily have to be a Time Lord and or someone who knew the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, this is Russell T Davies, and he does like callbacks, but
yes, he does.
What kind? If this is a callback to somebody that we already know, but it's a face we don't recognize.
Correct.
Then odds are they would have to be a Time Lord and have the ability to regenerate.
Yes, one would assume.
Yeah, and we know it's not River.
Correct.
We know somebody had thrown out the idea of maybe it's a sibling, River's sibling, and I was like, no, because Amy and Rory cannot have any more children. That's the reason they almost got divorced. And I had to, people are like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So, we know it's not, from the Pawns.
I mean, I know there's wild speculation that could it be the River and Doctor's kid, but then of course we're not dealing with two heartbeats, so that kind of rules.
Yeah, that we know of. So because of course people hear the name Flood and they think water and they immediately went to River Pond. I was like, nope.
Right. Yeah.
It was an RTD's thing anyway, so the whole River Song. Well, I mean, it was our first introduction to River Song, but the whole River Song's backstory, that's not Russell T Davies' thing, that's Stephen Moffat's. So
correct. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, she could be someone like the Ronnie. That would be cool. Ncuti Gatwa has tweeted that he would like his Doctor to encounter the Ronnie. So he's aware that the Ronnie is a character that has not been seen in a while. I'm totally there for that. you know me, that's the hill I planted my flag on. I don't know I don't know what I'm gonna do whenever it happens. I have to find a new hill. But until then,
you and me both.
My flag is firmly planted on the Bring Back the Ronnie hill. You know, obviously, Romana could be a possibility. Yeah, it could be Romana. I don't think RTD is going to bring the Master back anytime soon.
No, I think he might give the Master a rest along, like with the Daleks and the Cybermen. Yeah,
we really need a break from some of these characters.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Master.
I thought maybe Jenny. I thought maybe she, I threw out the idea maybe she could be Jenny.
Yes, that was a good. Yeah, Mrs. Flood being Jenny. Yeah, because we don't know where she's been.
Yeah,
gallivanting off to.
Yeah.
Or could it be? I mean, we don't know if alternate Pete versus Chen and Rose had a kid. Maybe that's one of their kids that came back. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or
there's a lot of possibilities.
Or could Ruby be Handy and Rose's kid, and they had to send her away, and here she is.
Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. I mean, but they do like to give us character, sometimes these companions with just, not a lot of backstory, and they're like, you're going to figure out, along with the rest of us, who this person is. Like Clara, it's like the Impossible Girl. What does that mean? So, finding out about River's backstory. So, this is, but I really like the two of them together. I think Shooty and Millie have got a good chemistry. They seem to be really enjoying themselves. I mean, Shooty definitely seems to be enjoying himself. He seemed to be enjoying himself, the screen time he got the giggle. So he's definitely taken to this role like a duck to water. And I'm here for it. I just love when you can tell that an actor is enjoying their work.
Oh yes.
And that just makes it more entertaining to watch when they're not phoning it in. Which I'm totally here for. Like I said, I love the fact that the Doctor seems to be playing with the TARDIS wardrobe, so we're going to be getting different hair. I mean, one of the promo images that got released, the Doctor's got a fro. So,
yes.
So we're definitely going to play around. Which the cosplayers, I'm sure are being like yes, and also cursing at the same time.
Yes,
because it's like I want to cosplay them all. I don't have that kind of money or time. So then they're forced to choose.
And I am so looking forward to the 60s episode with the Beatles. I cannot wait for all the Beatles Easter eggs that could possibly drop.
They give us a nice little teaser for the upcoming series. And yes, the Doctor is going to Abbey Road Studios. Oh my God, okay.
Oh yes. Oh. No, we're not excited. Oh.
How is it taken 61 years for the Doctor to properly encounter the Beatles?
Yes.
And what did the Beatles? What's gonna happen with the Beatles? So it's like and based on the look of the Beatles, because they started recording at Abbey because. What we know as Abbey Road Studios has not always been Abbey Road Studios.
Right.
So the fact that they're calling it Abbey Road Studios, though, because it was EMI, but It's also Abbey Road Studios, but based on the Beatles' looks, it seems more early Beatles because they've still got like the matching suits and the mop top hair. But then John's wearing glasses, which he didn't do until later. So, like, are the Beatles going to be like part of the actual plot? Or are they just so happen they're going to London in the 60s and then decided to drop by Abbey Road Studios because they can? Because I sure as hell would if I could get on the TARDIS. I'd be like, please and thank you. You can just drop me off at Abbey Road and come back to get me after the Beatles have broken up. Please and thank you, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we're going to go to Wembley for Queen, live at Wembley Stadium. And then we're going to fast forward again to Live Aid for Queen. So, but yeah, I mean, who knows what's coming? It's Russell T Davies. He's in charge. That's the thing. But at the same time, if you follow other people on social media, Moffat's been kind of trolling about things. He's been posting some things and saying some things that make people wonder what exactly he's doing.
It's just like, okay.
If he's somehow involved, or
right.
if he's doing
tell us
else.
You're not involved by telling us you're not, or telling, how's that saying go? Tell us you're involved by telling us you're not involved. Something along those lines.
Exactly. So you kind of wonder because Steve, what you doing?
Mm-hmm. We've been to this rodeo numerous times. Just lay the cards out on the table and give it to us straight.
Yeah. You can't do that.
No.
It's just like the MCU, anything Doctor Who related. It's kind of like the MCU. You say the wrong thing, you shoot to kill.
Yes. Or you're Mark Ruffalo and
unless you're Mark Ruffalo or Tom Holland,
right?
They are actually paid leakers.
Yes.
So.
But something tells me I don't think it's up to Ruffalo and.
Yeah. Yeah. So, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the fact that they're still saying Mavity.
Yeah.
So.
That's gonna be the new thing now?
Yeah, that is. I want to see how long this joke keeps going before somebody goes back to a certain Apple and be like, actually, it's called Gravity.
Gravity? Yeah, not Mavity.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Someone better fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
And then, of course, you get a Houdini reference dropped.
Yes, which somebody actually did the background check on that, and Houdini has met now we don't know if Ncuti doctor, when he says he learned how to escape from handcuffs from Harry Houdini, if he necessarily means that incarnation, or if he's talking about one of these other incarnations who we know of as Houdini, because Houdini has met the 5th Doctor in Smoke and Mirrors, which is an audiobook, the 6th Doctor in Harry Houdini's War, which is an episode of Doctor Who: The Monthly Adventures, the 11th Doctor in a short story, Houdini and the Space Cuckoos, and the 12th Doctor in the comic strip Theater of the Mind.
Yeah, and the mentioned meeting Houdini several times.
I want to see the 10th Doctor. Just
Jodie
in passing. Yeah.
and Jodie even mentioned something about it being really wet, and she
Yeah,
learned.
when she survives being dunked when they're doing the witch hunters. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that the actual adventure has not been canonized anywhere. So
Right.
these are just examples of the Doctor actually meeting Harry Houdini in the plot of something. So,
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, Houdini should know the Doctor really well.
Yes. And there are already people clamoring on some Facebook pages I follow, like, we need a big Finnish Doctor Who Harry Houdini spin-off series.
Yeah, really.
Let him get right on it.
Yeah. And speaking of Anita Dobson, she's actually in Blood of the Daleks.
Yes, my birthday
Yes.
pick from this year.
We'd
past year.
already met her as Eileen Clint.
Mm-hmm.
So, and actually, Davina McCall. Actually, this is her second appearance on the show. She's a well-known UK TV personality. So because there's actually she voiced an android version of herself in Bad Wolf. So
yes, and the what not to wear with a certain captain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you don't want to know where he was hiding that blaster.
Nope.
The less you know about Captain Jack, the better.
Better, yes.
Right.
Yep. But yep, that is the introduction of the new Doctor. Our full introduction to the new Doctor. Ncuti is here. And
I'm loving the energy. I
yeah.
I want more.
Yep.
Now, have we pegged down a release date? I've heard May, but then I've still heard spring.
They're just saying spring.
Okay.
So of course, Sean, I'm sure somewhere going Easter Saturday.
Yep.
So, but no, we're gonna have to wait and see. In the meantime, if you want to read the novelization of this episode, you can do that starting the 25th of January. The Target releases. They're going to be releasing a hardback and an audiobook novelization of this particular episode. So there could be, sometimes with novelizations, there is stuff in there that doesn't necessarily get into the episode, whether it's a description of something or a line that maybe got cut. So, just saying, you may want to pay attention to the novelizations. I know some people are like, why would I want a novelization of the episode? I just watch the episode. I'm like, well, sometimes there's stuff that ends up in there. So
yes, stuff that got cut or stuff that they add to make more sense.
Yeah. I mean, according to Wikipedia, which we know is so reliable, it's saying May. But again, that does not necessarily mean anything because that is Wikipedia and anybody can.
Right.
So, granted, Easter is at the end of March this year. So.
Right. Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. So we've got
this year's a leap year, so stuff is a little wonky.
So we got basically we got a 3 to 4 month wait.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that being said, Wikipedia does have a title for one of the episodes as well. It's, according to it, episode 2 is going to be called The Devil's Cord. So, but again, this is Wikipedia. So although that does have an annotation, and supposedly that comes from this month's copy of Doctor Who magazine in the letter from the showrunner. So
Okay. Which is straight from the horse's mouth, RTD.
yes. So because apparently that is a bit of a nod to Star Trek. So
Not ringing any bells. I'm like, Devil's Court, it almost sounds like a pastiche on
Yeah.
Hallelujah,
yeah.
with the one line about the cord. Devil's Court, is that what it was?
Yeah. But the annotation, the other annotation for that listing takes you to a article on Cultbox, and in the letter from the showrunner, it quotes that letter from the showrunner, and said the letter from Russell T Davies, the letter from the showrunner in Doctor Who Magazine. Apparently, RTD said this: sometimes little surprises happen way beyond anything we could predict. The other day, someone in Star Trek Picard suddenly said one of our episode titles out loud. Okay, that's hardly surprising in a show where someone's always saying this could be the end of the galaxy, but it was odder than that.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I've seen Star Trek Picard, so I'm going to have to go back and watch. So
yeah. So I mean, the person who wrote this article, which was posted back in April.
Okay.
So this must have been a different letter from the showrunner column then. They think based on when that column was written, because it was written about. They say, consider Davies wrote the column around the time Jinx Monsoon was announced as starring in Doctor Who Series 14. I'm going to guess Davies was watching episode 8 of Star Trek Picard. I watched Surrender, but don't possess a knack of remembering dialogue verbatim. Being resourceful, I checked the website, which publishes the transcripts of all Star Trek Picard episodes. My guess for the Doctor Who title is The Talking Door. I could easily be wrong in my guess. Davies invites fans to write into Doctor Who Magazine with their own guesses.
Okay.
Which my guess is where the follow-up for that is probably the letter from the showrunner that's in January 2024's Doctor Who Magazine, would be my guess. Okay. I don't read Doctor Who Magazine on the regular, so somebody could tell us otherwise. So
yeah.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised the Devil's Court wouldn't tie back to something with the Beatles. Because I was doing a little research with, it happens to deal with some sort of courting. I could see one of the boys getting into trouble with playing that. They have to stop them. Don't do that.
So,
yep.
Time will tell, speaking of. Anyway.
But I'm here for it, I think.
Yes.
I mean, it's Doctor Who. I'm always going to be excited. It's New Who, which is also exciting. It's a new Doctor, which is also very exciting. This episode was very fun. Again, a little song, singing number is kind of fun. I think that the goblins turned out really well. A number of them are people in costumes. There's a nice little behind the scenes with one of the actresses playing one of the goblins on the Doctor Who TikTok, I think. I would have to look. I'll find it. If I can find it again, I'll put a link to it. I think it was on TikTok. They digitally multiply them so it looks like there's more of them there than they actually could hire. But a number of them are, people and really, really, really good costuming and makeup and stuff. So that's really, really cool when they can do the practical stuff like that. And I think this the Goblins just looks like a lot of fun. And you know, creepy, obviously. They're goblins. They eat babies. You know, they're not gonna be friendly looking. But at the same time, kind of fun. And I just, you know, we're obviously only so far in, you know, this is only our second time seeing Ncuti as the Doctor, but, you know, I could easily see him moving high on my list of favorite Doctors. So, because I'm really liking him so far. So, and now we just have to wait till the quote-unquote Easter Sunday for Doctor Who to return, and for us to get Who on the regular for some amount of time, and then we'll be sad for a while. And then it'll come back again, and then we'll be happy. Then it'll go away, and then it'll come back, and we'll be happy. Good news is, in theory, knock on wood, we should be getting Who on a semi-regular basis for probably the next couple of years, would be my guess. Because, you know, this obviously, this series, whatever you want to call it, number, you know, season with Ncuti's Doctor was shot a while ago and is in the books, you know, is in the can, as it were. We'll probably get another holiday episode, whether it's Christmas, New Year's, to be determined. And we already know Ncuti, as last I heard, was shooting his second season as the Doctor. So he's got at least 2 seasons as the Doctor under his belt. So barring any delays, we should get that second season of him as the Doctor. Hopefully without too much of a wait in between the 2 seasons. So that is the good thing, considering how long we went without Doctor Who on a regular basis. You know, we'll take what, you know, obviously we'll take what we can get because it's Doctor Who and we want it all. We all turn into Veruca Salt. I want it now.
Uh-huh.
I want it all.
Or turn into,
I want it now.
bring up Anita's husband's band and we just bust out.
Yes.
Of course. Anyway.
Though I wouldn't mind Brian's take on the Doctor Who theme. That would be cool.
I mean,
You would
we're
think that an astrophysicist would have some interest in Doctor Who, or maybe being a PhD is like ruined you for any kind of science fiction. I don't know.
I don't think so. Not with Brian, I don't think.
Probably not.
I mean, come on, Flash Gordon.
He's too much of a sport for that.
That's
So.
true. That's true.
I was gonna say, if we're getting the Beatles, it's only a matter of time before we get the Doctor and Queen. But
Right.
I mean, very
easy in.
very well. That's true, but they also are very, very, very protective of any portrayal of Freddie.
That is
Very true too. Yes.
So,
And
but that doesn't mean that Brian couldn't show up and maybe be like Mrs. Flood's husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
and throw in a few riffs on the guitar, and I think we'll be
Yep.
Or Queen, and we just like hear Freddie instead of actually see him. So
Right. Yeah.
What was it that I was talking about, or I saw some? I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but somehow Queen being portrayed in something got brought. Oh, it was weird. The Al Yankovic story, and how they ended up deciding which member of Queen they were going to go with. And Weird Al is explaining that he would have liked to have all of Queen, but they're very protective about how Freddie is portrayed in media. which is why they decided to, obviously Freddie out, Brian too obvious. So it's like, hey, that leaves us with 2 left. And I don't know if they flipped a coin or what. So yeah, that's the one thing, because it's like, if Doctor Who, unfortunately, Doctor Who was winding down the same time that Queen, was kind of making, was still big. So it's like they couldn't have made appearance, as themselves. And unfortunately, there's just some stars that I think would make really good guests on Doctor Who that are no longer with us. I would have loved to have David Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Doctor Who. So he would have made it into the Guardians of the Galaxy if he had lived, but eventually, because I know James Gunn wanted to have him make an actual physical appearance, but that's just unfortunately we lost David when we did. So
just didn't work out.
So I'm still waiting on that Peter Jackson directed episode of Doctor Who. And
maybe
for those that are still with us, I really would like to see Hugh Laurie make an appearance on Doctor Who.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Now the only way they're going to get Peter Jackson is if Disney ponies up a couple more millions of dollars for something, and I don't know if Disney has the cash, but possibly.
I mean, they're obviously putting a lot of money into Doctor Who, so
True, that is true. But
if anything, Disney knows that sometimes your ROI, sometimes it's long term before you see a net positive, but it does eventually happen. So I'm just saying, we'll see. We need, dear powers that be, dear Disney, please and thank you. I would like a Peter Jackson directed episode of Doctor Who, and it may or may not has to overlap with having Hugh Laurie as a guest appearance.
Make it all happen at once, and Rachel will be happy.
Yeah. And Rowan Atkinson. There we go. He would be another I'd love to see in Doctor Who. Have Mr. Bean show up in Doctor Who.
Yes, and for those who were probably screaming at their podcast, but he was in Curse of Fatal Death back in '99. No, but that's not Doctor Who.
That does not count.
That was a parody, a very loving parody, and a lot of fun to watch, but a parody. Anyway, anything else we want to bring up, or
otherwise I'm gonna continue my wish list.
Well, we might be here all night.
Yeah.
I got.
In that case, let me get on Twitter.
Go ahead, get on Twitter and just do a big long thread of this is what I want, and anybody is Bad Wolf Productions, are they on Twitter? I don't know.
Well, we know Russell T Davies is, so
okay. I didn't know he was. All right, I thought he.
Yeah. Or maybe he's on Instagram.
Instagram somewhere.
He's on one of those.
Okay.
Maybe it's Facebook. I don't know. He's
somewhere you can tag him in.
Yeah.
All right. So if any of our listeners, they can send in their wish list requests or whatever it is they want to send in, whether we discussed it on the podcast today or another time, or if you just want to tell us what you got for Christmas, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to hear too.
Especially if you send pictures.
Oh yeah, send pictures. Send pictures if you feel so inclined. You can send us feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com, and that has links to all of our social media, show notes, anything that we said we're going to link to is going to be there. We have, you can leave comments on our Facebook page or Instagram or our YouTube channel, which is there. We do have Twitter, X, Twixer. I don't know. I keep trying to think of a clever name for it that combines both, and I keep failing. But anyway, that thing, you can send us something there too. And we also have a Patreon and a merch shop and we still have Ko-fi. if you want to support the podcast in a financial way, that helps us with, you know, hosting and other stuff that costs money to keep a podcast going. Which, of course, as always, we are so appreciative of those who do support us in that way, in that manner, because it's a choice. It is something that you elect to do, and we're grateful, very, very grateful for it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for listening, commenting, and sending in feedback, and just being among our audience, because that's the main thing, is we make a podcast for people to listen to, and everything else is just gravy. So thank you. And here's to, well, I don't want to say a wonderful 2024, because
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It's already gone off the rails, and it's only been a week. So I'm just kind of like, let's just survive. All right.
Yeah.
And,
Poor country. I wake up on New Year's Day and I'm like, all right, New Year. I open up social media and they're like, yes, 7-point something earthquake in Japan, warnings of tsunamis.
Yes.
I'm like, alrighty then.
Yeah, back to
Or
bed.
Japan.
Yeah.
And also, it's an election year, and I have determined. I'm not bringing politics up, because that's just no, you know. But every election year in my adult life, I can see it. I just watch it progressively get worse and worse and worse, and I am expecting one of these election years that there's just going to be a nuclear bomb go off, and we're just going to look at it and like, of course it did. Because that's what we were leading up to. So I'm not looking forward to this year strictly because of that. But there's always some bullshit going on. So anyway, there's my outlook for 2024. So I'm hoping people write in, and we just try to keep ourselves in good spirits one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that being said, if any of our listeners want to, because I'm slowly working on the rules and timeline and everything for this year's Oscar competition. So if any of our listeners want to join in the fun, send us a message and we can add you to the chat on the Facebook.
Yep. And you do not have to be a cinema wonk to get into this, because
Chrissy has won the last 2 years tossing coins.
I am not the type to go out and watch all of the Oscar movies, because most of them are depressing. If I'm being and I'm like, I have 2 little kids. It is so hard for me to get out to the movie theater. Movies are stupid expensive now. And I just, like, if I'm gonna go to a movie or sit down and watch a movie, it's gonna be something that I enjoy, and not that it's a homework assignment. Because what I do is I look at predictions, I look at who won what, and like we talked about Golden Globes, I looked at reviews and stuff like that, and I just kind of make my best guesses from there. So you do not, if you want to participate, do not feel like you have to, like, oh, I gotta go watch all these movies, and some of them are like 3 hours long, and no, you don't have to do that. You can watch some if you want to. That's totally fine. But I
treat it like it's a senior thesis.
Yes.
And Chrissy is the one who's won for our team the last 2 years. So.
Yes.
I fill these things out, and I am like, I have no expectation of winning.
Yeah.
Dartboard.
Yeah, it's a dartboard, but not really a dartboard, but I do look at, because critics and stuff post their predictions. I look at who's won already and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of research that goes into it, but I don't sit down and watch all the movies, because I do not have that kind of time. And like I said, if I'm gonna watch a movie, I'm gonna try to watch something that either my kids want to watch with me, or my husband wants to watch with me, or something like that. Mostly it's anime these days.
Yeah. But we don't get Oscar nominations until the 23rd, so really, if you want to join in the competition, really up until we get the actual nominations, and therefore we have something to work on, just like I said, hit us hit us up and I'll add you to the chat. So, because between now and nominations, we'll need to sort the teams out depending on how many people we have. So that's the thing. So we want to make sure the teams are balanced as far as number of players and stuff. So
Yeah. Didn't we tie last year?
yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, I know we tied. I couldn't remember if it was last year or the year before, but yeah.
No,
Okay.
we tied this last year, and then we lost the one before that.
Yes.
And
Sam.
then we won the first
Off
year.
Sam.
So we won
Yes.
this year.
So
So anyway, so yeah, join in if you feel so inclined. It's friendly competition, and
yeah,
you know,
it's not that serious.
no, and you get engaged in a little bit of trash talk if you know you're if sports aren't your thing, and I know the NFL playoffs are about to get underway here, and I've been doing a little bit of trash talking on certain things because some of my teams actually made it in. So some more did not. Oh, poor Jacksonville, poor Jaguars.
This is why I watch Italian soccer.
Oh, but that game was
I told Chauncey, I said if I hadn't watched it live, I would not have believed it. I even showed him some of the clips afterwards.
You and me both.
He was like, okay.
Yeah, that was Saturday. Then I think Saturday night I sat and watched the Canadians hockey game and sympathized with Nick because it was about as bad, and the Canadians wound up winning by penalty shots.
Yeah.
And then Sunday,
now, let's just say the Olympics this year are going to be quite interesting because I'm not. Most everyone just goes with their home country. Although this is Summer Olympics, so there's no hockey, but still.
Right.
I've been getting a lot of
our intermen are going to be split between their home country teams, even if they get on their country team to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. So we may be cheering for multiple countries when it comes to soccer and the Olympics this year.
Yeah.
That happens with basketball is like, there's a lot of NBA players from Europe and those countries, and they go back home and they play for their national team. So it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, I gotta say I have to apologize to Nick because I've been getting a lot of ads for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I know he's like not a fan of them, but they are like they've kind of claimed Utah as the local team, even though I think Colorado would probably be closer. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Knights. I'm sorry, they're just kind of they're my local. I guess they're my local team, or as local as we're ever gonna get, although they are pushing for us to have a pro baseball team in Salt Lake. So I don't know. Although we did, because we were chosen to be the preferred host for the 2034 Winter Olympics. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's the actual host. I'm so dumb about these kinds of things.
Because I think it depends on the host city, but not every host city is capable of hosting every sport. So sometimes they have to outsource.
Yeah. So I mean, we did it in 2002, and everybody said those were pretty dang good. So honestly, I think Salt Lake is like the only city that really wants to host them because nobody wants again, and we still have all the infrastructure. Like we have like the Olympic Oval is still being used, and I mean, good grief, all of the resorts. Come on, and we do, and we do have a minor league hockey team, and our main basketball arena can be converted to a hockey skating rink. So we've kept it all up. So why not? So anyway, are we gonna wrap this up?
Yes.
We've
been on for 2 weeks. We gotta
enough sports ball.
Yes.
So we
all right.
And sports. So there we go.
Yes. We're back, folks. You know
we're back.
us.
We're back. The tangents and squee. Here we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bevza saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Preached in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have no rhythm or flow, so I'm not even going to try to replicate some of that pseudo rapping hip hop singing that Ncuti did with the Goblin King. Just yeah. I'll watch the episode again. They do it so much better.
Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefiveishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.